Is a stretch of water that's only a tad more than 30 miles wide. It's so small that you couldn't even fit Luxembourg inside of it, and yet, these 30 miles make up the most important location to understand in the entire known universe. By controlling these 30 miles, you can effectively rule the entire world, and by closing them down, you can effectively destroy the world. And this is why. The ocean spans most of our planet's surface, about 70% of it to be precise. In order to transport goods from one of Earth's many continents to another, this vast ocean that takes up 70% of the planet has to be traveled across. And in the 21st century, there are many ways to do so. Simply using an airplane to fly across in mere hours might be how you choose to do it, but airplanes are expensive, especially the more and more heavy an object it is that you're moving. So when it comes to cargo, 80% of the 21st century's global trade is still being carried out the way that it generally always has been for thousands of years now, by ship. At any given normal time, there are around 50,000 merchant vessels carrying as much as 6 million containers full of cargo and goods all across the world's oceans and between all the world's continents. These networks and streams of ships that you see moving in lines across the world's surface here are the literal arteries that power the beating heart of the 21st century global economy. And unfortunately, the world's oceans aren't very easy to navigate through. The geographic placement of the world's continents, islands, and land masses have created numerous natural choke points that these trade arteries have no other choice but to move through. And when these choke points become blocked by whatever means, they can cause a veritable stroke upon the world economy. This is exactly what happened earlier this year when one of the most important of these, the Suez Canal, was blocked for several days when a cargo ship became unexpectedly stuck in the middle, which blocked nearly $10 billion worth of global trade and caused widespread shipping and logistical delays across the entire world from North America to Australia. But there are other strategic maritime choke points to consider across the world as well. The Panama Canal controls the flow of trade between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans across the American landmass. The Cape of Good Hope controls the flow of trade around the African continent. The Strait of Gibraltar controls the flow between the Mediterranean and the Atlantic. The Danish Straits between the Baltic and the North Sea. The Turkish Straits between the Mediterranean and Black Seas. And the Strait of Malacca between the Pacific and Indian Oceans. However, none of these are as important nor as dangerous as the Strait of Hormuz here.
Shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Quadash, and a sincere salutations to the hopeful elect, and also a healthy shalom to the few Akwath who are listening and learning. Lord's willing, this lesson be edifying. And I want to touch on how, these strategic bodies of water and these important waterways, pertain to Bible prophecy, and how they are the nervous system of the economy. And if you clog up, one of the arteries in the nervous system, it can cause a stroke and lead to you dying, lead to you having paralysis on your left side. You've seen, stroke victims. And this is exactly what's happening to, America, Babylon the Great, and the world's economy. Okay. These important arteries, are being clogged, which is leading to ultimately a collapse of this world economic system. And I want to start in Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 45. And we always bring these precepts out. So Adawan Ratazah, this lesson be, pretty quick and not too long. It reads, "Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, that he hath taken against Babylon and his purposes, that he hath proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them." Right. Who is the least of the flock? These Israelis. And who are they going to draw out? they're going to draw out the northern army, okay, which is America, Babylon the Great. They're going to draw America out into this third world war. And this is what we're witnessing. You know, they never thought that starting this war against the Palestinians would lead to Yemen and the Houthis blocking strategic trade routes through the Red Sea, which hinders America's and the world's economy. You know, a nation, you know, the Houthis, are a group so small, but are doing maximum damage to the so-called superpower America, Babylon the Great. You know, they didn't foresee this coming. Okay. So this is exactly what's taking place. The least of the flock, okay, speaking of the small hat, big nose people, are drawn out the northern army, America, Babylon the Great, to where? To the Middle East, to West Asia, to start this World War III. This is what you're witnessing. And how are they drawing them out? Let me show you real quick.
Things are escalating in the Middle East after the Houthis launched a second attack on a US naval vessel. It all started when the Houthis said that they would resume targeting Israeli-linked ships in the Red Sea as part of a maritime blockade in support of the Palestinians. The Houthis had originally paused their blockade in January due to the Israel-Hamas ceasefire, but recently they said that they were restarting the blockade after Israel broke the ceasefire deal by blocking all humanitarian aid and electricity into Gaza. And in response, the US launched a massive overnight strike across Yemen, killing at least 53 people and injuring dozens more, mainly women and children. And in response to that, the Houthis are now targeting US warships in the area. Now, Trump has threatened to retaliate once again with overwhelming force, which means more civilians would likely die. And Trump has also dragged Iran into it, accusing them of directly coordinating the attacks through the Houthis. And so many observers are now wondering if Trump will use this as a justification to attack Iran in the coming days. Meanwhile, the Houthis won't stop its maritime blockade unless Israel abides by the ceasefire and ends its blockade of Gaza, both of which are unlikely. So this situation seems like it's just going to spiral further and further out of control.
So as you can see, hey, the Heavenly Father is playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. You know, he's 144,000 steps ahead of him. And that's being generous. So from here, let's grab Joel chapter 2 and verse 20. It reads, "But I will remove far off from you the northern army." Who is that northern army? America. And what does the Heavenly Father say? I will remove far off from you. Meaning he's going to move America all the way from the west to the east. All right. And what does it continue to say? "And I will drive them into a land barren and desolate." Now, that land that's barren and desolate, all right, is over here. All right, Saudi Arabia. Matter of fact, let me grab the map that the brother Zakar'Yah put in the WhatsApp. This land that's barren and desolate is over here in Saudi Arabia, okay, Yemen, and also Iran. And I brought this map up to show you, you know, the deserts and how desolate and dry, you know, this landmass truly is. You have the Arab al-Khali, which is the world's largest sand desert. And if you look over here, which is Iran, you have the Salt Desert, you have the Lutz Desert. All right, this is where the majority of the fighting is going to take place in this third world war pertaining to Bible prophecy. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So once again, it says, "And I will drive him into a land barren and desolate with his face toward the East Sea." All right. What is the East Sea? The East Sea is the Euphrates. Okay. Which the Euphrates runs through Iraq, which is right here, and connects to the Persian Gulf. So all of this, okay, represents the East Sea. It says, "With his face towards the East Sea, and his hinder parts toward the utmost sea. All right. Now, what is the utmost sea? Ding, 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 ding. The utmost sea right here. Zakar'Yah. Did it freeze? It's nothing but Satan. That's why we have two maps. All right. It's the Red Sea. This sea right here. Okay. The sea where all this started. What all this started because of. So, like I said, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is playing checkers or chess, and you guys are playing checkers, man. As it is written, so shall it be done. Men's goings is of the Lord. So they can't help themselves. They can't stop themselves. The Heavenly Father has programmed them like robots to follow his blueprint. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So it reads, with his face towards the east sea and his hinder parts towards the utmost sea, and his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things. So Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is continuing to work. And it's no surprise, man. Every time around the Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Heavenly Father brings about judgment. The Heavenly Father turns up the dial on these prophecies. You know, and he and ultimately it's all a faith booster for the hopeful elect. You know, it's a reminder to fear the Heavenly Father, okay, to be obedient, and also a reminder that he's a power of his word. The things that he's promised the nation of Israel, he's going to deliver. You know, so all we have to do is just hold fast. Our salvation is nearer than even we believe. Okay. So I'm going to end it there. You know, I didn't want to make this lesson too long because, you know, we've spoken on this subject so many times, man. You know, and time is almost up, man. Adawan Ratazah, this was the last Passover that we have to celebrate. Okay. So Lord's willing, this was edifying. Shalom, Israel. Wa abad babal.